thank you all for being here. Thank you to Penny and her team for the invitation to speak to you. So I'm the campaign director of Wood for Good. Wood for Good has one mission. We want to see a sustainable future made in timber. We do represent the timber industry broadly, and our task is to promote the use of wood in design and construction. Below you can see a range of logos of all the companies and organizations who are currently supporting us financially, but we are very happy to promote any endeavors and projects of companies and organizations, even if you do not make a financial contribution, because really we want to see more wood buildings going up in the UK. So, why wood is the title of my presentation. So I would really like to look with you at the challenges we face as a society when we look at the built environment. And there you see these ellipses. They're not Easter eggs, they're just compilations of different topics. So one of the biggest issues in the UK is the urgent need for more housing. And we need housing at quantity, and we need it at speed. We also need it at cost. And a lot of people agree with me that we also need it at better quality than was delivered in the past. Related to this are further topics, namely the energy topic, for instance. We have an issue in supply of it, but also in the cost of energy. Energy costs are really expensive for householders in the UK. So we need to be more efficient in our energy use. We need to help address the problem of fuel poverty through building more energy efficient houses, and we need to address the issue of carbon emissions. And if we want to go renewable energies, then we also need to become more efficient. This is also driven by a very big issue that is very abstract for most people in the world, namely climate change. It also has got, through our use of resources, an impact on biodiversity. Unfortunately, biodiversity is reducing all over the world and also in the UK, and this is the basis of all our living. This is the basis for us to have actually resources to thrive on. Then we can look at the issue of waste, again related to finite resources that we're dealing with. So the construction industry is by weight the single biggest producer of waste in many countries, so we need to look at how can we reduce the amount of waste that we produce and how can we manage that. A big topic, the debate around this is growing, is health and well-being. So we're dealing with big issues of air pollution in the UK, especially in London. There's more and more people suffering from allergies. We have discussions around indoor air quality, so we need to be much more, looking much more closely at the types of materials that we are actually using in our buildings and to construct our buildings. We are also facing a very different challenge from that, namely a skills shortage. So there aren't actually that many people around to build the houses that we need to build. We need training and knowledge transfer, and we need to become a bit more clever to go about our task. So what's our task? The task sounds fairly simple, but I think it's quite an onerous one. We need to produce many, many more houses with a very limited amount of skilled people to actually provide enough housing for everyone in the country by using fairly little money to achieve this, so that we don't need to charge people a lot of money to actually buy the house. And we also need to do that without harming the environment. So yeah, looks simple in the picture. I'm not so sure it's so simple to achieve. So in short, from my perspective, what we're actually looking at is creating the affordable quality home, and that should ideally be built in timber. I created a little box. One of the architects who's speaking to you later today said I can go and visit his house, but it's just a CLT box. But what I meant by this picture is actually you can build it volumetric or in a flat pack decision, because really what we're also looking at more closely is off-site construction, MMC. So what are the opportunities and responsibilities? We first have the housing white paper that came out earlier this year, which hopefully is set to boost off-site construction. It also wants to further and support small and medium-sized enterprises to help build this environment. And it supports custom build. So there are lots of different strands that would actually provide opportunities for timber buildings, especially because the housing white paper stresses the need for speed, quality, design and sustainability. And I think with timber solutions we can actually achieve this mixture of criteria. Then we also have seen the launch of garden cities, so there are 14 new garden cities to be built in the next few years. This is a very big opportunity for sustainable design, for community building, and therefore also for enhancing the notions of quality and affordability when we look at providing housing in the UK. Well, one of the politicians' favourite subjects is Brexit. So what has Brexit got to do with opportunities for timber buildings? Well, actually it creates a lot of uncertainty in the market and in the environment. So in order to hedge risks that Brexit might bring, we need to help strengthen local economies as one way, and help communities become more resilient against blows that might actually result from this political uncertainty and from economic uncertainty as well. We can do that with natural resources like wood and others, and I'll come to that in a moment. And we should all look at the circular economy and the principles of the circular economy, which brings us back to finite resources and how we can learn to exploit them better and more cleverly. And I would encourage everyone who hasn't read this book by David Cheshire yet, Building Revolutions, Applying the Circular Economy to the Built Environment. It's well worth a read. So, how could help solve the housing crisis? We had this really interesting discussion at a Garden Cities conference in February with a lot of people who quite liked the idea. We could actually go and say, in England, for instance, we have a very low forest coverage, so very little wood that we use in the built environment actually comes from England. So we really need to grow more forests. Afforestation is important. So we could actually use the Garden Cities movement to get started and plant more trees, plant more wood, which provides a lot of ecosystem services to us. So they're great to go out for leisure reasons, but they also make sure that we have clean air, they also make sure that we have good water, they do good things for the soil, and we can use the wood that grows as a building material. We can then create jobs in and around the forest. That wood can go into a factory where we could produce all the products that you can see today in the exhibition, which again could create new jobs and create new houses that are more varied and that are of a good quality, where people love to live and where people can actually thrive. So that gives us a happy community. Interestingly, I don't know, maybe some of you have heard about it, Powys County in Wales have started such a project. They are building wood clusters, and the project's going to be presented at a conference in mid-June called Wood Build Wales, if any of you were interested in that. So now I thought I'd bring a little quiz for you. So my first question, actually, it's a bit mean. I did this quiz with social housing providers, yes, and it was quite interesting. And because it's so early in the morning, I thought I only bring 3 simple questions for you. But nonetheless, how many new buildings do you think are made from timber worldwide? So worldwide, it's supposedly 70% of all houses. UK-wide, anyone an idea?
10,000.
Well, it's 25% UK-wide. If you look at Scotland alone, however, it's about 75% of buildings that are made in timber. Okay, next question. How tall is the tallest timber building in the UK?
6 stories.
30 stories.
Well, it's officially it's Dalston Lane. It's 10 stories high. It has got 121 units and is entirely made of CLT. Last question. Which of these buildings is made of wood?
All.
You're correct. Which of these buildings is made of wood?
Same.
All of them. Which of these buildings is made of wood?
This pattern, right?
Say again.
There's a pattern, it seems.
There's a pattern, yeah, you're right. Yes, they're all made of wood. Would anyone spot the ones that are not built in CLT? No, this one's not built in CLT. And the one adjacent. Which of these buildings is made of wood? All of them. Which of these buildings is made of wood? Or which of these buildings is not made of wood? No, they're actually all made of wood and they all won awards. Well, thank you very much. That was the easy part of the day, and I wish you all the best. Lots of inspirations from all the further presentations. Thank you.